The avoidant demonstrates warmth, availability, and genuine interest toward people who represent nothing more than options. They respond quickly to casual connections, show enthusiasm for surface-level interactions, and maintain consistent communication with people they have no intention of committing to. But the person they actually care about, the one who matters most, receives coldness, inconsistency, and emotional unavailability. This behavior appears nonsensical until you understand the psychological mechanism driving it. The avoidant does not treat options better because they like them more. They treat options better because they feel safe with them. And safety for the avoidant means low stakes, no vulnerability, and zero risk of genuine attachment, triggering their deepest wounds. Subscribe to understand the psychology that explains this cruel pattern, so you stop personalizing their coldness and can finally see what's actually happening beneath the surface. Options do not trigger their attachment system. When the avoidant interacts with someone who is just an option, their nervous system remains calm. There is no threat of real intimacy, no danger of becoming dependent, no risk of being hurt because they are not emotionally invested. This allows them to show up as the best version of themselves. They can be charming, attentive, responsive, warm, all the things they struggle to be with someone who actually matters. The irony is devastating. The avoidant is capable of healthy relational behavior, but only when the relationship is superficial enough not to activate their defenses. Options are safe, precisely because they do not matter. The avoidant knows they could walk away without consequence, that these connections are replaceable, that no real vulnerability is required. This safety allows them to engage without the terror that accompanies genuine attachment. Meanwhile, the person who is their real choice triggers every defense mechanism they possess, because caring about them is dangerous, needing them is terrifying, and losing them would be devastating. The real choice represents everything they fear. The person the avoidant truly wants is the one who has the power to hurt them. This person matters enough that their opinion carries weight. Their rejection would be crushing. Their presence or absence significantly affects the avoidant's emotional state. This power is unbearable for someone whose entire defensive structure is built on never giving anyone the ability to hurt them. So the avoidant treats their real choice with coldness and distance as a way to manage the vulnerability that person represents. By being unavailable, by withholding affection, by maintaining emotional distance, the avoidant is attempting to protect themselves from the pain they fear is inevitable. They treat options better because options pose no threat. They treat their real choice worse because that person poses the ultimate threat. The possibility of being loved and then abandoned, of being seen and then rejected, of mattering to someone who might leave. The worse they treat their real choice, the more that person actually matters to them. This is the cruel paradox of avoidant attachment. They are testing whether you will stay despite their worst. On some level, the avoidant treats their real choice poorly as an unconscious test. They need to know whether you will stay when they cannot give you what you need, whether you will accept them at their most unavailable, whether your care is conditional or unconditional. This is not conscious manipulation, but rather a compulsive pattern rooted in deep insecurity. The avoidant's core wound tells them they are fundamentally unlovable, that people will leave once they see who they really are, that acceptance is always temporary. By treating you poorly, they are accelerating the timeline to the abandonment they believe is inevitable. If you stay Despite their coldness, it temporarily soothes their wound. If you leave, it confirms what they always believed. Meanwhile, options never face this test because the avoidant does not care whether they stay or go. The investment is too low for rejection to matter. The tragic outcome of this pattern. The devastating reality is that this pattern almost always results in losing their real choice while keeping shallow connections with people who do not matter. The avoidant treats options well, and those people stick around because they are receiving adequate attention. But the person the avoidant actually wants eventually reaches their limit. They recognize they are being treated worse than strangers, that the coldness is not about compatibility, but about dysfunction, that staying means accepting permanent emotional starvation. So they leave, and the avoidant is left surrounded by options they do not care about, having lost the one person who mattered because they could not overcome their fear long enough to treat that person with the warmth they easily gave to people who meant nothing. The avoidant does not learn from this loss. They simply find a new, real choice and repeat the pattern, forever trapped in a cycle where they destroy what they most value while preserving what they could easily replace.